In a quiet American town, back in the haze of the 1970s, lived a man named Thomas Carter. He was a carpenter, a man of simple means and even simpler truths. He wasn't chasing fame or fortune, he just had something that felt rarer with each passing day, a heart that believed in creating with love. Every single morning, like clockwork, Thomas would walk down Main Street, his old worn toolbox in hand. He'd pass the bakery, the familiar smell of fresh bread filling the air, then the post office, and finally, he'd arrive at his little workshop. It was a place that smelled of sawdust, strong coffee, and the quiet dreams of a working man. Thomas had one son, Eli, a boy whose imagination was a universe of its own. While Thomas built sturdy chairs and tables with his hands, Eli built entire worlds with his mind. His notebooks were filled with sketches of towering buildings, grand bridges, and structures that seemed to reach for the stars. Dad, Eli would say, his eyes wide with ambition, "One day I'll build something everyone will remember." Thomas would smile, a warm, knowing smile, and reply, "Then I'll make the door for it." Son, it was their private joke, their shared promise, a little ritual that always ended in laughter. When Eli turned 18, the world beyond their small town called to him. He was off to the city to chase those sky-high dreams. Thomas stood at the old bus stop, a proud smile fixed on his face. But his eyes told a different story, a story of fear tangled with immense pride. The silent prayer of a father letting his son go. For a while, the letters came frequently. They were filled with intricate drawings, exciting stories of city life, and a boundless sense of hope. But as the years drifted by, the letters became fewer, the spaces between them growing longer. Then, one cold winter evening, a letter arrived that shattered the quiet world Thomas had built. It wasn't from Eli, it was from a hospital. There had been an accident, and his boy, his Eli, wasn't coming home. That night, a profound silence fell over Thomas. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. He simply walked into his dark workshop, sat down amongst the wood shavings and forgotten projects, and stayed there until the first light of morning crept through the dusty windows. The months that followed were a blur, a thick fog of grief. The tools lay untouched. The sawdust settled into a still blanket. The workshop itself seemed to hold its breath, as if it, too, had lost its reason to exist. But one morning, as a single ray of sunlight cut through the gloom, it landed on something half hidden under a clother small, half-finished chair. It was Eli's first project, something they had started together years ago. Thomas reached out and touched the wood, his fingers tracing the familiar grain. He leaned in close and whispered into the silence, "Let's finish this together, son." And so he began to work again. Slowly at first, then with a quiet, renewed purpose. Each stroke of the sandpaper, each strike of the hammer became a form of prayer, a conversation with a memory. He wasn't just building furniture anymore. He was rebuilding himself, piece by piece. Thomas started carving a small, unique symbol into his work, a tiny bird with its wings spread wide, a little doodle Eli used to draw in the margins of his notebooks. And people noticed. It started with a neighbor, then another. They'd come in for a chair or a new cabinet, but they'd end up staying to talk. His little shop, once just a place of labor, transformed into a sanctuary, a place where other broken people found a quiet warmth, offered by a man who had known brokenness himself, but had found a way to keep building. Years passed. Thomas grew older, his movements slower, but his hands never stopped creating. One day, a young architect named Daniel came to town, a notebook full of ambitious designs under his arm. As he showed them to Thomas, the old carpenter's eyes lit up with a flicker of recognition. "I know those lines," Thomas said, his voice soft. "Eli drew like that." Daniel nodded. "He was my friend," he explained. "He talked about you all the time." Daniel was there to design a new community center for the town, a project inspired by the very sketches Eli had made all those years ago. And he had one special request for Thomas. He wanted him to build the doors. It was as if time had wound backward. Thomas worked with the energy of a younger man. For months, he carved, sanded, and polished, whispering to his son's memory with every nail he hammered, every hinge he fitted. When the doors were finally finished, he didn't sign his name. Instead, in a corner, almost hidden, he carved a small Burdalese bird. On the day the doors were installed, the sun broke through a blanket of clouds, casting a golden light on the town square. The townsfolk gathered, watching in silence as the new doors opened for the very first time. Thomas stood quietly in the crowd, tears finally streaming down his weathered face. He looked up at the doors and whispered, just loud enough for himself to hear, "We did it, son." Years later, long after Thomas had passed away, the building was officially renamed Carter Hall. Above its grand entrance, the doors still gleam under the morning sun. And if you look closely, you can still see it's the tiny carved bird, its wings open wide, forever ready to take flight. Beneath it, a single line is engraved, a tribute to a father and a son. Build something that touches the sky. Sometimes our dreams are too big for one lifetime to hold. But love always finds a way to finish what we started. Because when we build with love, what we create lives on forever. Thanks for watching, and if this story touched you, please consider liking and subscribing for more. We'll see you next time.